When a revered medieval religious figure fell ill, their neighbors did not gather simply to mourn. Towns dispatched armed guards to surround their hospice rooms. In some cases, locals would literally dismember the saint post-mortem to ensure they kept the bones. When Saint Francis of Assisi was dying, his home city realized his body was at risk of being stolen by rival towns. They sent a heavily armed military escort to bring him back inside their walls before he passed. This morbid paranoia had a clear economic motive. A church without a relic was cut off from the massive, highly lucrative influx of pilgrim tourism. Relics funded the roads, inns, and massive cathedrals of the surrounding city. To the medieval mind, the physical remains of a saint were the ultimate civic asset. Securing one guaranteed a town's financial survival. The theological justification came from biblical texts. Passages described Elisha's bones resurrecting corpses, or Paul's garments healing the sick, transferring divine power to inanimate objects. The church organized this into a three-tiered grading system. First-class relics are actual body parts. Second class are physical possessions. Third class are items that touched a saint. This system inadvertently created an economic hierarchy. First-class body parts became incredibly scarce, creating a competitive market across Europe. By classifying and grading holy items, the church minted a highly regulated, standardized currency for divine power. Acquiring a premium relic reorganized a local economy. It created permanent, localized demand for hospitality, trade, and transportation infrastructure to support endless waves of pilgrims. St. Peter's Basilica is the ultimate architectural expression of this wealth. The structure was designed entirely around securing and displaying premium artifacts, built directly over the Apostle Peter's tomb, while also housing pieces of the True Cross and Veronica's Veil. These sprawling, monumental basilicas served the exact same function as modern bank vaults. They signaled the massive, unassailable wealth held within to the rest of the world. Because first-class relics were so economically critical, they routinely provoked international trade disputes, targeted heists, and literal military action. This map tracks the astonishing geographic journey of St. Thomas the Apostle's remains. After his death in India, his bones were transported across the continent to Edessa in Mesopotamia, and eventually moved to the Greek island of Chios. The climax of this journey occurred in 1258. An Italian naval commander orchestrated a covert heist, stealing the bones from Chios and transporting them across the Mediterranean to their current resting place in Ortona, Italy. The economic and spiritual gravity of a single skeleton was powerful enough to redraw geopolitical maps and trigger international naval operations. This desire to collect the physical remains of holy figures exists well outside European Christianity. It thrives even in religions that strictly forbid idolatry. Islamic theology strictly prohibits the worship of objects, yet the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul houses incredibly powerful relics, including the Prophet Muhammad's mantle and footprint, which were historically used by caliphs to project political authority. In Buddhism, sacred physical remains known as sarira are housed in massive, purpose-built stupas to drive devotion and regional pilgrimage. Despite vast theological differences, the desire to touch, hoard, and trade tangible holy objects is an inescapable, universal human psychological trait. Every booming, unregulated economy eventually attracts scammers. As demand for relics peaked, merchants began selling common animal bones and counterfeit artifacts to desperate towns. Mark Twain later highlighted the sheer scale of this fraud, writing that if you gathered every supposed piece of the True Cross across Europe, you would have enough wood to build a ship. This runaway, pay-to-play corruption acted as the catalyst for a market crash. Martin Luther condemned the entire practice as idolatry, sparking the Protestant Reformation. Treating the divine purely as a commodified economic asset broke the Catholic monopoly and fractured Western Christianity. The Catholic Church eventually reformed its rules, dropping the centuries-old mandate that every single church altar must contain a relic. But the surviving artifacts are still protected and venerated today. They endure because they satisfy a basic requirement of human nature. No matter how abstract our modern philosophy becomes, we still have a deep physical need to literally touch history.